So last week we had an all-female cast and we talked about opening up. So this week we will have an all-male cast talking about the same thing. Unfortunately, we're down a cast member. I don't know what's happened there, but it is what it is. So it'll just be the four of us just talking about opening up. So like I asked the ladies first last week, guys, are you able to open up?
I'm picky.
You're picky.
There needs to be a period of time for me to know the person, and then I can open up in certain ways, because some person might react differently to someone else to the same information. So I need to be picky with what I open up about. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. I think it depends on what it's about. I'm very much of the, for example, Tommy, you know this because I bang about this every opportunity, I think. When it comes to cancer and stuff, because my mum's been through that, I'm really open to talking about it because I want to make it a positive thing and use my experience to help other people.
Very true. Very true. And what about you, Kevin?
Yeah, no, I agree with the other two. I think it depends on what it is we're talking about. For the most part, I'm kind of slow to opening up, especially when it's about personal stuff or deeper stuff. But I think once I get comfortable with you to a certain point, I'll open up about some things. I'll kind of gauge what I think is okay to talk about. If not, I just keep it to myself.
Yeah, I agree with that thought. Yeah, I find it hard to open up, and it depends on what it is that I want to open up about. But I always feel like you have to go to the right person to open up, because as Richie said, two people can process information very, very differently depending on their life experiences. So I'm piggying back of that. I have a couple of scenarios that I'll present to you guys. So are you able to open up about an issue at work, for example? Say, let's say your manager's giving you something to do, but you're like, yo, I don't really understand this. Are you willing to open up and go to your manager to get help? Or are you going to just force it and be like, yo, listen, I'm stubborn. I'm going to force it until I cannot feasibly understand or do this task. Then I'll ask for help. What are you guys generally like in that sort of situation?
I will have it go first to see. And then, because normally, if someone tells me something to do, I'll be like, okay, cool, that sounds simple. And then when I do it, I'm like, oh, wait, I could have asked this, could have asked that. So then I just ask those questions as I go along. So then, if I don't get something, I'll just go and ask, the manager, for example. I'm at this stage, don't know what to do. What would you do in this situation, etc., etc. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. I will ask questions at the start, making sure I crystal clearly understand what's going on, because listen, I can't come and kill myself because of something that I'm struggling with. So I will always just ask for help, just ask, making sure I know what I'm doing, making sure, yeah.
I think this also depends on the person, because some managers, or in some cases where you're asking for help, the person's responsive. They're happy to hear you out and answer those questions. But if I'm kind of sensing that they're going to be annoying about it when I'm asking, because I get that sometimes it's annoying if someone's asking a lot of questions. So regardless, I'll try to keep it short. But if I'm asking you about it and you're kind of coming with attitude, then I'll kind of figure it out myself. And unless I absolutely have to, I won't come ask you for help, because I don't have the energy to deal with that attitude. You get me?
Yeah. I hear you.
I feel like I'm sort of a combination between all three of you guys. To be honest, I think it probably depends on what the job is and how big and important it is. because I don't want to spend all day doing one job only to then find out that I've done it wrong.
Mm.
So
That's
sort of
fair.
having to find out all the details beforehand to make sure I've understood it and that I'm doing it right. And then happily go and ask a check that I'm doing it right rather than have to do it all again.
Okay. That's true. That is true. So off work, what about with friends? When you have an issue with, okay, I'm going to present two different scenarios. So first of all, you have an issue with what a friend has done in a certain situation. Would you open up? Would you be open to them and tell them like, I wouldn't have done this, I would have done this, or are you just gonna keep it stepping and not rock the boat with your friendship?
Process that one, to be fair. But
I think, again, it probably depends on what the thing is, isn't it?
yeah,
I'm a very strong believer of like support in public. What's the word? Not
Support in
discipline.
public,
That's the wrong word.
support in public,
Counsel
shame in
private sort of thing.
private. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'll support the people that I like as much as I can in public, but then even if somebody's got a valid point, I'm gonna defend them. But actually, then I might be afterwards say to them privately, "Oh yeah, maybe you should have done that. Do that a little bit differently in the future," something like that.
A few moments later.
It's not that bad. I probably won't say anything. I might maybe hint it, but for the most part, I'll probably keep quiet because I think, okay, if it's not that serious, then me bringing it up isn't kind of necessary. And
Yeah.
I don't always think that's the best way to go about it, but that's just kind of like what I default to.
just your automatic like
Yeah.
go to in a way. Yeah, I think it depends because like Ruben said, it depends on what it is, if it's deep or not. But like some people, how they act is just how they act. So it's things they say is just how they are. So sometimes you might just like that's just them. Like some people are just direct,
Yeah.
straight to the point, but that's just how they are. So you might just leave it at that. But then the other people that aren't direct, but let's say they do something that's a bit, I don't know, rude or questionable, I would like at a time convenient for both of us, not in private, not in public, I will say, oh, I think you probably should have done this. But that's just me. I could be wrong. I always say I could be wrong. That's just my viewpoint, but I think you should have done this. But if you already know that, then carry on doing you. I'm not one to say what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But I just think you should have just done this. But yeah.
I think it's about finding that balance between like helping your friend out when they do wrong, but also acknowledging that they're still adults. They, in a way, some things are for them to learn themselves. Like you stepping in isn't helping them necessarily, because if one day they make that mistake and you're not there to pull them up on it, they may not always see that it's bad. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't want them to become reliant on someone else telling them, don't do this.
Exactly, yeah. Some people can take some counsel one way or another, but some people can't.
Yeah.
So the ones that can't, I'm a bit reluctant to tell them because I know I'll have a negative reaction. But then, yeah, it just depends on the situation and who it is, I guess. Yeah.
So me personally, I would probably like tell them like, yo, I don't think you should have approached whatever the situation may be in that way. And I would give them my viewpoint. But I think that's just me personally. So
yeah,
flip the situation now.
That's good though. Sorry, continue.
No, carry on, Kevin.
No. Like personally, I think if I'm making a mistake, I would rather someone tell me that, yo, fix up, because I don't want to go around doing something that I know will upset someone else or that is wrong. Do you get me?
Yes.
Exactly. Because I know that me personally, I can take that criticism. English, okay. I can take that criticism and move on from it, like grow with it. Do you see what I mean? Yeah.
See, you don't want yes men you don't want yes people in your corner. You need people to give you the whole cold hard facts on the situation.
Yes.
So now on friendship, would you open up to friends on a personal issue that you do have, on a personal situation, or go to friends for advice on something that you would need? How open are you when it comes to that scenario?
I have a thing for like not bothering people, even for the simplest things. I'd rather just do it on my own. I'd rather struggle myself than let someone else struggle for me. So I'd rather just do it my own way, or just figure it out myself. But if I'm in dire need of help, or if it requires like a second opinion or second hand, then I will reach out to the right person that I think would help me in that situation. But nearly, I'll just do it on my own. Yeah.
I think I agree with Richie. I tend not to open up because I'm worried that I'm burdening the other person. And again, whether or not that's the right thing to do, that is in my head. I'd rather help someone else with their issue than have to put my own issues on them. And in my head, like, oh, you can handle it. And if I really, really can't, then maybe I'll open up, and even then to certain people.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Yeah, I said on the female episode, I don't like burdening people with my problems because they also have their own problems that they're dealing with. So it makes you feel like your problems are like, I can't, the only way I can think of is insignificant. So we're just gonna say that it feels like your problems are insignificant compared to theirs. So as a result, you feel like you don't want to burden them with your own problems, which makes you now hold things in and like just pen things up, which isn't a very good thing to do, because eventually one will explode, and that explosion, it ain't it.
The thing is, though, you say that like your problem's insignificant to you. No, you might feel like yours is insignificant to other people. But the thing is, it probably isn't. No, even if it is, if it's helping you get it off your chest, it'll help. Like we've all said here that we'd much rather sit back and be talked to and be the person helping. So because it feels good, really, doesn't it? Like it feels good to know that you're helping out somebody else.
Yeah.
So even like for one person, like we've had so many car issues in the past, and it was getting to the point where I was like, I'm sick of this car. Like, but to other people, having car issues means absolutely nothing. Like, it's just another day for some people. Like, it's just like, I know you've had that experience of your Corsa in the past, Tommy. Like, it was just one thing after another. But to other people, you might think, oh, it's just a car, it's silly. Like, why bother about it? But at that time, it's like such an important, big part of your life.
And I think from what you said, I think that's why so many people don't open up, because of the reaction they may face from others that almost belittle their issues. And it's just like, oh, so this is how you move if I say this. That's cool. That's cool. Yes. That means I know I shouldn't go to you in other situations. And that's what happens with a lot of people, unfortunately.
And also, like, I get your point. You're definitely right, because it is healthy to just talk about it, but it's easier to kind of think like that and have that perspective from the outside in. When you're in it and you're the one dealing with it, it's kind of like,
yeah, definitely, it's much more difficult.
It's harder to see that, okay, it is quite a big deal, and it would be helpful to speak to someone else, but when you're in it, you think, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. So we'll move off that, and